So now we are going to talk about lifting up the walls. This is going to be one of the most difficult parts and the part that takes a lot of practice because you're going to need to get used to feeling the thickness. So when you start, there's kind of two ways to do it. When you go bigger, you're going to have to do it with two hands, pinching in with I use a sponge, pinching in from the right hand on the outside and the left hand on the other way. And if you're lefty, the other way around. And at about anywhere from probably about 3 to 6 o'clock is where you're going to be doing this. It just makes it easier. You don't have to reach over the piece. Yeah. So one thing you're going to want to make sure you're going to do is kind of do the first step to throwing a wall is always before you do your next pull is what it's called. You're going to do an undercut. So you're going to kind of come on the bottom and push clay up. So now you're pushing the clay up that you're going to pull up. You can do this in small amounts, or you can do this in bigger amounts. So if you're gonna, now that you get the undercut, what you're gonna wanna do is either pinch with, you can do pointer or middle with your thumb on the outside and pull up that way, or as I do it because I think it's easier, and when I throw bigger, it's just a good thing to have the habit of, is using the outside. So now when I'm throwing straight up, I always kind of give a little push in. Kind of creating a volcano. If you're throwing out, you can obviously go out right away, but when you're throwing a volcano, what you'll learn in ceramics is it's always easier to pull out again and straighten it up than it is to get it back in. And so when you're pulling, you don't want to go too fast, as I just kind of did in the middle there. You want to take it nice and slow at the speed of the wheel, not too slow to where you're not actually pulling anything, but not too fast to where you'll overthrow it and it'll be super uneven and cause it to fall. So you're going to be going at just a nice little pace. And really, you're not going to do a whole lot of pushing from the inside. The inside kind of guides your hand straight up. And make sure that you have somewhere to put pressure on. So now another thing you're going to want to make sure you do is, and a common mistake you can make, is throwing the bottom thin and the top thick. That mistake causes it to fall over because, you know, if you built a statue out of wood on the bottom and out of pure steel on top, it's not going to be very stable because it has too much weight at top. So make sure that whenever you pull all the way through the rim, whether you're actually pulling clay through it, and making sure that the thickness at the bottom is always thicker or even to the thickness on top. And one of the biggest things that you'll probably have to get used to is you will get the wheel wobbles where it feels like the clay is about to fall, and it might, but you have to kind of just pull through it. Hold steady, push your elbows into your sides or into your leg, and that'll be a big key to holding the piece steady while it starts to wobble. Your biggest anchorage points is going to be your body while you throw, and use those. Don't have your arms out loosey-goosey letting the clay take you where it wants to go. Put your elbows in and control the clay where you want it to go. And that, my friends, is how you throw. Now it's going to be a little more complicated than that and takes time to practice. Don't be afraid of failing. Once you do finally get a piece up this tall, one thing you can do to check its thickness is take a wire tool, go halfway through, and instead of going all the way through, you're gonna lift straight up. And we'll see how well I threw this. And you can see the wall thickness. This is a good tell, so you can see that I threw that pretty evenly. I'm gonna trim most of that. I would have trimmed most of that away here, or cleaned it up after I was done throwing. But you can see my walls are pretty even, how they're a little bit thinner at top than they are on bottom to support itself. The floor is a little bit thicker to make a nice foot that I like to make. And just like that, you've thrown your first cup. If you guys have any questions, let us know. We are here to help and get you on your pottery journey.